All right, we should be live. Are we live? Let me make sure. Never gone live before, but super excited for this stream. How do I see? Okay, if you guys can, if there's, so I think there's like 9 viewers. If you can see me, just say something in the chat real quick. Let me just message on the group. So we have people from the community join as well. Danje, what's up, man? I know you're from our group. Can you hear me? See me all good? Just want to make sure that this is working. Let me see the chat. Okay, perfect. Super excited for this event. This has never been done before, but I'm hoping that, after this event, a lot of people have some amazing takeaways and we see some cold emails change some people's lives. I'm just gonna wait in here. So it's supposed to start in another 3 minutes. And yeah, hopefully more and more people keep coming in. All right, appreciate you. How are you guys doing today? What time zones are you guys from in? Damn, I feel like this is what the streamers are like, when they're like, "What's up, chat?" and talk they keep talking. They're always talking to like these people on the internet. It's unreal. Definitely nerve-wracking. All right, how many? 7 people in here? Okay, that's good. You guys can see the slide deck as well? Okay. Europe, India, Asia. Okay. Sick, that's sick. Man, it's crazy what the internet can just do, huh? Like, somehow you guys just heard about this hackathon from one part of the world, and like, I'm literally here in my mom's bedroom streaming, having this hackathon, and having all you guys here together, sending these emails out. Man, it's crazy what the internet can do. Istanbul, yo, my friends from Turkey. I have a couple of Turkish friends. How do you say how are you in Turkish? Super complicated. I know I'm fine is like nasılsın, but yeah, it's a difficult language. Okay, so we have 16 people in. I think I'm gonna wait like 5 minutes, get everyone in, and then we'll get this started. Yeah, I tried pronouncing that, but it's a difficult pronunciation. I love the fact that there's people that are coming in here from the community that we have on WhatsApp already. Like these guys, we just interact so much on, like not every day, obviously, but just the fact that I'm having people watch that I've interacted with before is such a comforting feeling. So I'm super grateful to have you guys in as well. There's like around almost 300 people in the WhatsApp community as well. And it's crazy. Like I've never even met. So it's a WhatsApp group that's pinned. It's a chat. The link is pinned in the chat, and it's a group where we all share each other's drafts and stuff like that. and I give a lot of feedback. I have a lot of conversations with people there, and we share each other's story because a lot of the cold email is writing your story in less than 300 characters. So I've gotten to know a lot of people there, but I have no idea what they look like. I've never like met them, so it's pretty mad. Yeah. So we have more and more people coming in, which is amazing. I'm gonna wait 4 more minutes and then we'll get started. I have so many things that I'm so excited for. Just the fact that we had like companies reach out to partner to sponsor the cash prize, and the work that we've been doing behind the scenes for the hackathon in terms of the submissions and the website that I'm going to show you about the hackathon. It's pretty fun. And also, I never skip gym. Like, ask anyone that knows me, I usually never skip gym. But today, it was the legs, and I was just like, I'm gonna miss it just so I'm extra prepared for this call. So we'll make sure that the slides and the experience, everything is gonna be worth it, and we have a good time. It's gonna run a little bit long, maybe more than an hour, like an hour and a half. So we're gonna have the workshop along with the call. Um, and so we're gonna do both the things, and the workshop in itself is gonna be very much in depth, going actually behind the nitty gritty of writing a cold email, the text behind it, the technique behind it, essentially. So it's gonna be fun. No way, I would never ditch the derby for this, but much love, man. Gohar, how you doing? So Gohar was actually like one of the members from the community that tried the 8 day cold email challenge. He was actually like one of the first people that paid for it, and I'll talk a little bit more about what that is. But yeah, one of the first people to give me feedback on this 8 day challenge or course that I released, and that actually helped me shape a lot of this pitch deck as well. So I really appreciate that feedback, man. All right, 2 more minutes. I'm just gonna like post a couple of reminders on Twitter, WhatsApp, so we make sure everyone's joining in. It's crazy how much this is just blowing up on Twitter, like the attention that it's getting. Okay, awesome. Appreciate that, Vanshika. So also at the end of this live stream, it's the whole video is going to be there on YouTube, so you guys can always come back to it and refer to the talk that we do about the workshop and everything. Oh, is that you, Pratik, from Thriving Studios? So Pratik actually edited the video that's been going super viral on Twitter and Instagram. So check his stuff out, man. Team Thriving Studios, super cool agency. Um, Appreciate that, Arti. Oh, you tried the 8 day challenge too? Um, oh, if you cold emailed for the scholarship, yeah, then I must have probably given it. How's it going, Yash? Okay, okay. How many people we have? So we have like 70, maybe 70 people in. All right. So I'm just gonna start, and as more people keep coming in, um, as I said before, super excited to be organizing this event, to be the one that's bringing people in from all around the world to come together and actually shoot their shot. Cold Email has done so much for me. it's literally led me to places that I never could have even imagined in my head that I would achieve at such an early stage in my life. And so this event is just something that I really wish had existed earlier. It would have fast tracked my progress to the people that I've met, and hopefully it does the same for you. So while I run through this deck, I'm not gonna check chat as much unless I kind of like ask you guys a question or something like that. But yeah, we're just gonna roll with the deck. So energy is super important before we even start. Okay, I'm gonna check chat now, obviously, but let me ask you, what type of experience, what type of result are you looking for from this event? And this can be anything. I'll give you a menu. You can have an experience of being excited. Maybe after this event, you want to have this light bulb moment, or maybe you want some feeling of motivation. You want to see other people's success stories. And so tell me in the chat, like, what type of experience are you looking for? What are you trying to have at the end of this event? Like for me, if I were to start with one thing, I would definitely want to have is gratitude for you guys, somehow hearing about this event and now being a part of it, taking time out of your day and coming to actually watch a random guy from another side of the world talk about cold email and host this event. So some people are saying really the drive to do better and be more productive, um, understand what works. So you want to have some of that technical knowledge. Some people want to look at people that they admire. Um, they want to look at connecting with people they admire. So that's amazing. Now, why I stress energy so much is because a lot of writing persuasively has to do through with the transfer of energy from you as a writer to the reader. And writing a cold email that gets replies, and this transfers to other skills as well. When you're even in the interview of a job or when you're even speaking to a person, a lot of what you do has to do with the transfer of energy from you to the other person, right? So for me, I want you guys to go away from this call feeling what it feels like to actually shoot your shot. That one moment that you have when you actually send in a cold email, that you feel the magic, that you just put out yourself into the universe, is unlike anything else in life. And I want you guys to take away that feeling at the end of this event, at the end of you sending in your cold email, at the end of you shooting your shot. So before we start, we're gonna watch this video together. We're all just gonna pretend like we are 12 years old and watch one of my favorite movies called Surf's Up. And I'll give you a little bit context before starting this. So this bird is actually a judge for the world's biggest surfing competition. And this penguin, who's called Cody, is basically begging her to let him be a part of the competition, and she doesn't think he's good enough. So anyways, we'll watch this clip.
Well, anytime now.
You should have been here yesterday. We had a sweet swell yesterday. I mean, I was doing some layback 360s and floaters. It was insane.
Wow! Start the whale.
No. Wait. Just give me one more chance. All I need is one.
Just
please.
had it.
Dude, please don't go. Please.
Just break it. Better luck next year. Come on, move. Let's go.
One way.
Let's go.
One way. That's all I need.
Coming, let's go.
Please.
I've never, won anything my whole life. Just once, I want to feel like a winner.
I used to scout songbirds. Toucans for this musical review in Brazil. Now that's show business. Toucans.
Hold on! I don't care what you say. I'm coming to Petco.
No way, no how. This is a contest for big wave surfers. Make this blubber ball go any faster. Step on it, fish sticks.
No.
Oh, poor kid. I feel bad a little bit. Honestly, this is
No,
embarrassing.
wait.
Did you guys see that? He almost had my board. He almost had it. Oh, next time. Next time we'll get it.
Yeah, so anyway.
Man, we did it!
Thank you.
Teamwork always pays off. I'm Chicken Joe, man.
Oh, thanks, Joe.
Don't you ever do anything like that in the contest, all right?
For me?
Yeah, you're in, because that was entertaining. In a horrifying sort of way.
Okay, so obviously we watched that clip, and for me, every time I watch that clip, I get goosebumps everywhere because in my experience, in my journey, every successful person that comes from no connections, no background, who has that underdog mentality can relate to this clip. So many times in life, you'll get told, no, you're not good enough, or you'll get rejected, or you'll get people that won't even give you a chance, they won't even check your cold email, they won't even give you a chance to prove yourself. And it's because you have to understand psychologically, it's easier for them to just say no than it is to say yes. And so it's your job to make sure that you're so persistent that you keep trying until, and you have that belief that, until something works and until you get your shot. It's the same as Cody, like how many times did he fly off the big shark, Even at the end, if it wasn't for the little chicken that gave him his board, he would not have got on top. So you're essentially trying to create this thing what I call your luck surface area. You're trying to create more opportunities in the world, and this is not limited to cold email. Anytime you have an idea or something that you think could lead to a greater story down the line, I really want to emphasize this: shoot your shot, because you have no idea what kind of magical things, what kind of opportunities can happen in life. This is just one example. And no matter how many times someone tells you no, because it's easier for them to tell you no, you have to prove to them that you really want it. And that comes through trying persistently. And at the end of it, you even notice that judge slowly even goes on to root for Cody, right? She actually wants him to prove himself and be part of this event. And sometimes, that can even be in an entertaining way. So many times I've seen CEOs or billion dollar companies giving people shots just because they like their story. So doing it scared is 100% the way to go about it, instead of waiting for perfect conditions. Like a lot of, I don't know if you follow Alex Hormozy as well. He has this saying that the best routine is actually no routine. And the ones who absolutely kill it in life are the ones that just do it scared, the ones that do it tired, instead of waiting for the perfect conditions. So you're here now together with a group of people. I mean, when it comes to perfect conditions, I don't know what could be better than this. But my point is that you might not feel you're ready. You might not feel that you have everything you need to get $1 billion attention, and I'm going to help you prove that you actually do. You have your story, you have certain things that you've experienced in life that are unique to you. But the point is that you have to do it, even if you're scared. And so that brings us today to the world's first cold email hackathon. I mean, this has never been done before. And I'm super excited that, you all are here, and I'm super grateful that we can all be a part of this. I guarantee you, after 8 days, the stories and outcomes that are going to come from this event are going to be unreal. And just having that belief was enough for me to create this event and to organize it. I never thought it would go at this scale. I thought maybe 50 people would come from our community. But even for those 50 people, I knew that it would be worth it. So before we get into the details, this call, I'm going to give you a few more details on the hackathon, and then we're going to get into the workshop on the art of writing a persuasive cold email. So here's a quick story. Last year in the summer, 2024, this is me and my team. This is my co-founder Ria. We have Chinmay, Keshav, and we were all working on this idea called Synctium. That was my first run at a startup. And I made all the beginner mistakes I could, but the one thing I wanted to do was to get to SF and build my startup there. But I had no way of doing that. I was in the third year of my uni. I was in Canada. I had no connections to SF. I essentially only had two options. I had to either wait to graduate, or I had to wait till the summer of next year. And obviously I didn't want to do both. I had so much energy, and I just felt like that SF is the place that I had to be, that I couldn't stop at trying to figure out another way of getting there. So a couple of months later, I created a third option. I cold emailed my uni to create a program that funded student founders for 4 months and allowed them to work on the idea full time. So and it was not a thing that, okay, it just came to my head and I did it, you know. What essentially happens is that you figure out how to create these opportunities along the way, but the easiest way you can start is through a cold email. So, for example, when I first cold emailed my uni, they obviously needed people to fund this program, right? They needed donors, but they didn't essentially have anyone that were just ready and willing to do it. So, again, it was easy for them to just say no. But I then went and found donors. I went and cold emailed more people, and I figured out, okay, who would be the type of person that would want to fund this? And it was ideally people that have graduated from the same university and have made a lot of money in their lifetimes. And luckily, I found a few that were willing to fund it. And so that's how I became the sole receiver of this. And I took the 5K in 4 months and just flew to SF. So 5 years ago, this was my trajectory till the day that I sent that cold email. There could have been a few more paths that I could have taken, but this is where I was. And since I sent that cold email, these are all the trees, all the network of opportunities, all the pathways that essentially opened up for me. And it was mind-blowing. So when I got to SF, for example, one of those pathways that opened up was this place called Founders Inc. Now, Founders Inc. is a place where they invite the most ambitious founders from around the world to come and build for 6 weeks. And obviously, when I got to SF, I'm like, this is the place I have to be. So I sent this cold email trying to convince them that I'd come and shoot this video for a podcast called My First Million. And I just wrote this cold email, structured it well, and sent it. And that actually got me to get into Founders Inc. They let me come, they let me film this video, and I got to meet all these crazy founders. Now just imagine the kind of opportunities that I had from there. All these people were like 10, maybe 100 levels above me, and I just got to learn so much being around them, working with them. I got to film this video as well where I met Furkan. So he's the one who funded Founders Inc. He has a huge Web3 company as well. And I don't even want to say how many zeros are behind the companies that he's built and sold. And he's genuinely one of the smartest people in tech. Like, you look up to anyone in SF, in the tech space, he'll tell you that he is one of the smartest people there. And so I became this guy that snuck into Founders Inc. And that helped create a narrative, that helped create a story that unlocked a lot more opportunities down the line. Here are some of the other outcomes that I've had since sending that cold email. I got to work for Scale AI. I got to connect with CEOs of billion-dollar companies. I got a mentor relationship with Ryan. He's one of the founders of a unicorn, one of Canada's only unicorn companies, Clio. I got a 6-figure job offer in SF, which obviously I couldn't take because I was still in uni. And I even got to act in a Hollywood film. So there's a story about the Hollywood film. I basically cold emailed the director to be a cast assistant, and all I had to do was help out this really old actor that was in the movie, and he needed someone to speak Hindi, and I was there. So that's me in the background, if you can see there. And now that movie is in Prime, so I'm officially a celebrity. Will not be taking any autographs right now. And so essentially that led to me creating this project called the Cold Email Hall of Fame. Now this is a collection of the best cold emails I found across the internet. I put them all up on my site, and they're real cold emails that people have sent to Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos, Mark Cuban, and I share them all through a newsletter. So if you'd like to check them out, you can go to coldemails.world and you'll see them up on the site. And this hackathon, where we all are today, all started from this project. I started posting about it online. A lot of people liked it, and it ended up growing into a community. Now I want to talk about this one kid. He's a 15-year-old kid called Rodin, and he reached out to me, and I've been seeing him on X a lot. He posts a lot about cold emails, and this is one of his success stories where he reached out to Mark Cuban successfully. And he's a great kid who's just decided to shoot a shot and reach out to Mark Cuban, Sahil Bloom, and a couple of other people, and he's been able to do that. A few other people that have done that in our community, I obviously can't fit all the successes that we have, but it's insane that this stuff actually works, and the type of results these people have been able to get have been way better than I have. And so I love being the one that's somehow played a part in helping them do that. But just some of the results they've had is, for example, this one person got in touch with Akash Ambani. If you guys don't know, Ambani is one of the richest families in India. Another person got in touch with another founder, and initially we think that, oh, there's some magic, or these people that are getting in touch are doing something differently, but you realize that it's just a skill that anyone can develop. So this guy's name is Pratik. He's a good friend of mine. He's the guy who edited the video as well. He got in touch with Harry Stebbings, who has a podcast, and I know a lot of people here have a podcast and are trying to get in touch with their dream clients. Another person got in touch with the CEO of Salesforce through his assistant, which was a pretty cool outcome. So what I'd say right now is to join the WhatsApp community. I've put the link in the chat, and it's pinned on the top. So you can all join the community there. So you can, in this call, when I ask for your drafts, so we can do some live rewrites, and during the hackathon where I give feedback, I can all do that in the community there. And we also share our wins throughout the hackathon there. So you're probably wondering why 8 days, right? Why is, Third Web is the name of the company for runs. Anyways, you're probably wondering why 8 days? Why is this hackathon 8 days long? And the reason is because I started this thing called the 8-day cold email challenge on my website. And essentially what it is that after 6-7 months of growing this community, teaching people how to write effective cold emails and giving a lot of people feedback, I just couldn't help myself but to start or to condense all the knowledge I had into something that people could just do, and in a short time frame they could understand and basically get everything they needed to send a very persuasive cold email. So if you're interested, you can head there. And the reason I made it 8 days is so if you would like to start the challenge, it would start tomorrow, and it runs 7 or 8 days, and you have enough time to get enough knowledge to write a cold email, depending on how serious you are about it and what type of results you're looking for. And so basically each day I send you a cold email. Each day I send you an email, and that email does a breakdown of a cold email, shows real examples, and goes in depth with annotations on why certain things work. So the workshop that we'll have in the second half of this call will be basically an excerpt from the 8-day cold email challenge. And if you'd like to go to the website page, you'll see all these reviews in the bottom. I don't edit any of them. I just ask people when they finish the 8-day cold email challenge to write me a review, and then it just automatically gets posted there. And a couple of these people are here in the chat, so it's nice to see that. I'm just gonna check the chat and make sure everything's good. Yeah, exactly. This applies to follow-ups. This applies to just being persistent until, even if they say no, at least you get an answer, right? Oh, your professors were surprised? Are they in the call? All right. So about the hackathon, here's how it's gonna work. From tomorrow, you'll have 8 days to cold email anyone. That can be Fortune 500 founders, celebrities, investors, whatever your scenario is. And even if you do not have a scenario, just take out this time to cold email someone you look up to, The whole point of sending a cold email is to go from being an internet stranger to a warm friend, And so if you even reach out to a person that you admire, just telling them how much you look up to them or giving them a compliment, it's going to have value for you down the line. This is the exciting part. I'm so excited to announce the partner and sponsor for this hackathon. Initially, I didn't think that, I would have companies want to sponsor or partner with. I just thought this was an event I wanted to see in the world. And it's crazy how sometimes you just start and things happen. So the first partner that we have is called the Residency Bangalore House. The Residency is a Sam Altman-backed company that has homes for more than 1,000 entrepreneurs in 13 different countries. And so the Bangalore House are partnering with me for this hackathon. So definitely check them out. It's a super cool company. They basically help fund and bring in ambitious founders from around the world to work together, and that's what Cold Email is also about. It's about giving these underdogs a tool that, if used well, can get you opportunities around the world. And so the cash prize is sponsored by 3f.vc. So if you go to their site 3f.vc, you'll see that they're a frugal founders fund. They essentially are a company in India that give micro grants to founders and startup founders and entrepreneurs in India essentially. And so they're sponsoring the cash prize of $300 to the winner of this hackathon. Along with that, they'll fast track the winners directly to their grant applications. So usually you wait around a week or 2 weeks, but with this you get fast tracked to the last round of their application. And the best cold emails will be featured in the Hall of Fame, which is also something I'm very excited about. And the ones who do get featured are going to get a very personalized gift from me, like a medallion, something that, is a symbol of being featured in the Hall of Fame. And these are our judges, man. I still cannot believe looking into the screen and seeing these judges' names on the, slide deck. So the first judge we have is Jay Yan. Now, this is a person that was recently featured in Forbes for building his career entirely of cold emails. His story is insane. So he basically, at the age of 16, cold emailed the CEO of Beehive. Beehive is a huge company, by the way. He cold emailed Tyler, and that's how he got his first internship under there. And then he grew the Beehive 101 course to over 100,000 users used the course that he grew there. And then at 19, he sent another cold email that got him head of content, which is a 6-figure role for Noah Kagan. And now he works at the media team for Alex Hermosi and Leila Hermosi at acquisition.com. And this isn't even the most impressive part. He's the publisher of a book. He's the author of a book that he self-published called You Can Just Do Things. So anytime you go on Twitter and you see people just saying you can just do things, it comes from this guy and from his book, because a lot of the opportunities he's got in life has come from permissionless action, which is what this event is all about. And the second, of course, is a full circle moment with Farza. He is someone that I really, really look up to in the space of just entrepreneurship and goodwill, I would say. He's someone that, has always come across as very authentic to me in the way that he writes, in the way that he does things. His previous company, Build Space, is how I started my journey last year in the summer. And he grew that to over 100,000 students. And a lot of that journey that he has been on involved cold emails. And he gets a lot of cold emails as well. And he obviously is amazing at writing them. So I'm super happy to have him be a part of this event and judge what do you guys submit. So on 9th December, after 8 days, we will all submit the entries, the cold emails that you guys are sending. If you get a reply or you don't get a reply, just submit them at coldemails.world/hackathon. And I'm actually super excited to show this site to you guys. So if you go to coldemails.world and you go to the hackathon page, you guys can see this, right? Okay. Let me hide my video real quick. So you also see this counter of the number of cold emails people send. And it would be really interesting to see how many people send cold emails. And you can see where each one of you are coming from across the world. So I know a lot of you are coming here from India. One guy said Istanbul, and US, Singapore. So you can see that here. And you essentially submit your cold emails at this link. So you click this and you send in your cold emails. You don't need to have a reply. Get my video back. But it would obviously be a lot better if you get a reply. Should be working. There you go. And the criteria for winning first place is the best cold email overall. Second is the most valuable reply. Third is the best subject line to get a reply. And fourth are special shoutouts. And so the cash prize will be split among the first three. The first one gets 50%, second one gets 30%, and third one gets 20%. And yeah, once again, join the WhatsApp group for the drafts, because that's where, I will also be giving a lot of feedback to everyone in the next 8 days. And the point is that when I give one person feedback, a lot of people can relate to it and learn from it versus just having me do it per person. Okay, so that is everything to do with the hackathon, the prizes, the sponsors, the judges, my story, and now we get into the actual art of writing a cold email. Let me take some time and talk to the chat. I was in which house was I in Build Space? I was in what do you call it? The blue one, the Apollo Chrome extension. Yeah, I used to use that too. So Apollo is really good if you want to just get anyone's email who is on LinkedIn. You can usually go to Apollo, search them up, and you get their email. Is there a limit to how many we submit? There's no limit. You can submit as many as you want. But yeah, it's better if you have the reply with it. The link for the cold email hackathon is there on coldemails.world. Just go to the hackathon and everything's there. Yeah, Alter Rock. That's what I was in. Web of what's the offer you're supposed to pitch? That depends on you. Like, what are you trying to cold email for? Yeah, all this info will be on WhatsApp as well. What about LinkedIn messages? So cold DMs, that's a good point. I will say that for this event, like we can do cold DMs as well, as long as you can prove that it's cold, like you don't have any previous connection with the person. We can do cold DMs as well. Yeah, so Mayank, when I say using Apollo, like I want to be very clear. When I'm talking about the art of cold email, I am not talking about using a template and just sending that out to over, 100 or 200 people. And I'm going to talk about that in this workshop. Apollo is good to get a person's email address, but I do not condone it for, depends what you do. If you're in cold outreach or B2B sales, then yeah, I mean, maybe you use Apollo for your campaigns, but I'm very much talking about a personalized cold email that takes a lot of time to do research on the person you're cold emailing, and it's not something you can generally copy paste across 100 to 200 people. Okay, let's get back into this workshop. All right. So I'm gonna first give you guys 10 minutes, pick a scenario, and write a cold email draft. This can be, you can choose one of the scenarios here, or it can be your particular scenario. You might be a student, a master's grad cold emailing for jobs, and write this draft out into the WhatsApp group. So we have a shared drafts group, and send in your drafts there. And yeah, we'll come back after the things that you learn, and we'll try to improve that by over 10%, over 80%. To wear glasses. So yeah, I'm just gonna be waiting for you guys to send in some drafts on WhatsApp, and literally don't overthink this part. A lot of you will probably be waiting for others to do it. Um, yeah, you don't have to choose any real person. Just it can be directed to anyone. But the point is that you're cold emailing for one of these scenarios, and you just want to have a draft. So don't overthink this. Literally, 10 minutes, write down a draft, and it can be bad. In fact, the point of it is to be bad to start with, and then we improve it, right? But don't be one of those that just sits back and watches other people do this, because I promise you the people that actually write this draft on right now are going to be the ones that will have the successes at the end of the 8 days. Damn, I wish I had some like background music I could play. Hold on. Play some Fred again while you guys do this.
I just stand there. Been a while since I heard my voice.
Man, I miss Fred again in Vancouver. I wish I was there.
Days before and then without you here. Dead way up, holding on, I'm let go here. Still in the rush right here. Still in the rush right here. Still in the rush right here. Right here. 10 days, 10 days, 10 days. 10 days, 10 days, 10 days. Eyes wider, I'm full soda, but I'm still not here. Still in the rush right here. Still in the rush right here. Still in the rush right here. 10 days, 10 days, 10 days. To 10 days, 10 days, 10
I think we'll do it. We'll wait for like another 2-3 minutes.
Wanna be holding, but I'm hiding. Never make falling honest. Maybe it's calling. If I'm honest, wanna be holding, but I'm hiding.
Okay, before we get distracted and just play Fred again the whole time, let's get back. So, I just saw I was checking the WhatsApp group. A lot of you guys have put in your drafts, which is amazing. Now, we're going to go back to those drafts and we're going to apply this thing that I call the golden formula when it comes to cold emails. So, if you guys have heard of copywriting is the art of kind of writing persuasively. It's the study of writing things persuasively, I guess you could say. And damn, I missed a bracket there. But there's a formula that people use in copywriting, which is called AIRA, and it stands for attention, interest, desire, action. So whenever you see, if you see Apple's launches of their new products, if you see any sales page, any advertisement that has a lot of words in it, it will usually follow this format where the top heading will be for your attention. Then the next set of lines will be to generate interest. And in the end, they will generate desire and then have you do something, which is action. And that's what we call CTA, click to action or call to action, where you click something like buy now, things like that. That formula applied to cold emails is what I call the golden formula. And I learned this from Sean Puri, and I learned this from a couple of other people just learning and studying cold emails. So subject line is the same as attention, and then you add in your personal touch. And this is where you do a lot of your research. This is where you take the time to make your cold emails unique, and you add a little bit of a credibility that shows that you're not just a random stranger on the internet. You offer value, and in the end, you give them a simple ask. So we'll break each of these down. And once again, this whole thing is just a short excerpt from the 8-day cold email challenge. So in the cold email challenge, I go much more into depth on each of these slides. And I'll share some examples from there. Like I'll show some actual cold emails and stuff like that, but we'll get into that. So this now, again, I was a bit hesitant in sharing this because I don't stand for templates, and I don't want you guys to just use this as a template and spam it everywhere. But this is how I would write a draft that applies that formula. So obviously you write a subject line that gets the reader curious, and you start with name, what's up, was scrolling Twitter, saw X, and then you put in your specific genuine reaction. You can read the rest, but you see like it follows that formula. It has a personal touch that I saw your post on Twitter. It has credibility when you add in your credibility statement, and you offer value when you're reaching out and saying that this is the value proposition that I have that benefits them. And then you make a very simple ask, and you literally tell them reply with this and I will do the rest. And in the end, we'll talk about the PS section as well, where it's a very useful way of adding humor. It's a way of adding things that you don't want to put it into the into the body of the email because it'll sound too boring. But yeah, this is a very big disclaimer. Do not use templates. And let me tell you why. So if you, like, I'm a huge fan of ads. I'm a huge fan of copy. I'm a huge fan of how, for example, Rolex, when they had their campaign, how they sold their watch in a way that was way more persuasive than its competitors, right? And there's a saying in the ad space that is that the best ads cannot be set by your competitors. And what that means is essentially that if your competitor or if another person can say the same thing as you, then what you've written is not good enough. It's not going to feel the same. So in the same way, if your cold email can be sent to someone else without changing the body and only changing the name or the sender address, then your cold email has not been written well enough. Most likely it won't get replied to. And so there's usually two ways, right? In a lot of B2B sales, what people actually do is that they'll write this template and send it to over 1 million people using things like Apollo and other marketing platforms. And that's literally why I did not I did not want any of these other mass email marketing platforms to sponsor this hackathon, because I don't think that's the way to go about it. Instead, if you write one really well cold email and increase your reply rate from 0.1% to 20%, I think it's a much better way to go about it, because it's then starting a relationship that's more warmer than if you were to just cold email like 100,000 people every month. And so keep this in mind. It's a good litmus test is that your cold email cannot be sent to someone else without, just changing the name of the sender. So let me actually get a brave volunteer so we'll do a live rewrite. I'm gonna go through the WhatsApp group and then find one draft and then we'll just do a live rewrite. Okay. Let me see. Really quickly, can you actually just put it in the chat? Type 1 if you are someone who's looking for a job, and type 2 if you're someone who's doing anything but looking for a job. Like if you're cold emailing for a job, put 1 in the chat. If you're cold emailing for anything else, put 2. Just want to know so I can choose the one that's most beneficial. Okay. Okay, so it's pretty much one. What we can do is for now go with an example of someone that's reaching out for a job, and then in the end, I can do a rewrite of someone who's doing anything else. Let me really quickly look at one person. Okay, there's quite a few in here. Let's see. Okay. I've seen a product marketing one that I thought was kind of interesting. Almas. Almas, are you in the chat? If you're in the chat, say hi. Yeah, Samyak, I got you. Like, I will do something focused more on the selling or like, number 2 in as well. Just a little bit later on in the call. Okay, for now we're gonna run with this, or I'll just do both right now. Maybe why not? Let's make this black. This is quite long. Hold on. God damn, where'd it go? There's got to be an easier way to do this, but okay. Why did it do that? What would you guys rate this already? Just having a look at this. Let me also remove this. Yeah, what would you guys rate this cold email out of 10? Hope you're doing well. I'm Almas, currently working as a so yeah, I've been realizing basic turning chaos is only this push me explore associate product roles. Let me see some ratings. Out of 10, what would you guys rate this one currently? Okay, 7, 6. Almas, what do you think this is right now? On a scale of 1 to 10, what would you rate this? Okay, so I'm seeing like 6, 6.5, 7. I agree, although how should I put my story? Okay, Almas, really quickly, who are you emailing for this? Are you emailing a recruiter, a founder? You rated 6. Okay, hold on. Let me now put this here. Currently, we're saying that this is, let's say, 6, right? Now let's rewrite it. I want to rewrite it using this formula. Now, first of all, okay, let's, remove the subject in case, because we don't know exactly who you're cold emailing. But even if we assume that you're cold emailing the founder of, a marketing company, because I feel like, or a company, a startup that I'm sure spends a lot in marketing. Just off the bat, hold on one sec, let me actually just write these down. Okay, so we do a before and we do after, and then we'll rate the after as well. Now, just seeing the cold email beforehand, even without doing anything here, what I would say is that, first of all, it's really long, like who here actually read the whole cold email, to be honest? And obviously, Almas, we're not trying to, roast you or your cold email. We're all here to learn. But honestly, who here read every word and every line? I'm just gonna move this one right here for now. But yeah, not me. You did. Okay. So I think a person who's really busy, right? I don't think is gonna read every single line unless what you're saying, first of all, at least, has something to do with them. Like you start off talking a lot about, the only thing you said is, I hope you're doing well. And then it's, I'm this person, I'm doing this, I've been realizing that what I enjoy is this. That's pushed me to do this. I'm still early in the journey. So it's a lot talking about yourself. And when you're someone that they've never met before and you're just cold emailing, it's not something that, someone would want to read about, because they fairly don't know who you are. And so you have to first make them care. That's like the number one thing you have to do, is that you have to make them care. So one way you could rewrite according to this formula is, first, obviously, personal touch. So what's a way that you could have some personal touch here? So you said you're still in your master's, right? Or you're working as a marketing freelancer, and you're looking for PM roles. Okay. The first thing you could say, let's say like you're emailing the founder of this company, you could say something like, something that's a little bit funny, relatable, but also tells them how much you admire their work. Something you could start off with would be like, right here, be like, hi, I'll be honest, or something like, this is one way of saying or giving them a compliment. Is like, I've been delaying my freelance work saying I'm sick, but actually, oh, I can't spell. I'm sick, but actually I've been binging. Can you guys see the cold email really well? The text. Um, okay. Yeah, saying that I've been binging your podcast episode on XYZ. Really love the way you do XYZ, whatever. Or you literally do your research on this person. Let's say they have a blog, let's say they have an article. If they're the founder of a company, usually they have their story or something like that online. And your job in this cold email is to first tell them that you've done your homework, you know who they are, and you want to come across as a warm person. And this is how you build that personal touch, right? So you can say I've been delaying my freelance work, saying I'm sick, but I've actually been binging your podcast episode on this. Really love the way you do whatever and whatever. Now, see, all of this is just like not necessary. Like, they don't need to know your whole life story, especially at the end if you're just saying, like, I'm just looking if your team is hiring for junior PM role, whatever, whatever. Something else you could write instead is, could say, something like this. I've just completed my master's and I've been rejecting every freelance client in hopes of finding something more fulfilling, similar to how, and I'm assuming that this is related to the podcast episode. Yeah, or you don't even have to put like 3 or 4, but this is something that kind of shows instead of saying your story. So ignore my spellings. But instead of you just saying that I've been realizing the work I enjoy most is actually the why behind the product, understanding user shaping. Now, see, this is what I mean. This is something anyone can say, right? But instead, if you say that, oh, I've just completed my master's and I've been rejecting every freelance client, the fact that you're saying you reject freelance clients, no one else can say that because they're probably not a freelancer like you are, right? Um, and you're relating this to the person. This is what's super important. People don't relate why they're cold emailing to the person they're reaching out to because that actually takes a lot of work and effort. And so it just comes off as ingenuine. Um, so you say, and you show some of your credibility. So you say that while most people partied in uni, I stayed up making this, and this. So you're like showing your work as well. And then you want to maybe provide some value. I created this thing for you. It could be anything, product roadmap or anything like that, depending on what you're interested in. PM roles, right? What's another fun way of saying it? Let me think. I don't know. This is like one thing you could say, I guess, which is like when I was wearing my PM hat, I created this landing page for you and decided to get serious and actually roadmap how you could run this campaign. Would love to share that with you if you're interested. Schedule a meeting. So a couple of things here, yeah, right? Like first of all, just look at the readability of the first one versus the second one. This one is a lot easier to read, and yeah, you're not saying that if your team is hiring. Ideally, you know, if you're reaching out to a founder and they're hiring, they will automatically send you in the right direction. But what you want to focus on is providing value when you're reaching out to things that kind of have to do with you getting a job or you getting an opportunity. And the last thing I would say is add a PS. You know, something like this. This is what this PS is really good, because when you're making the ask, you don't want to make it kind of, you don't want the person reading it to have pressure to do anything. You want to make it as easy as you can and as low friction, pressure as you can. So by writing this just one line of saying all good, if not, looking forward to binging your next episode anyways, just tells them that, you know, they're just like a nice, kind human being. It's not like pressurizing me to forward this email, because from their perspective, they already have so many commitments throughout the day. Just imagine a busy product manager or a busy working professional. They have like so many deadlines to meet, so many things to do, and the last thing they want is to get a cold email from a random stranger on the internet convincing them to do something for just them, right? So what would we rate this rewrite based on where we started and then just this after rewrite that we did on the formula? What would we rate this? Like really quickly, what would we rate this? Just put like a number in the chat. So the thing with the PS is that like yeah, you're not kind of, so there's a thin line of showing the conviction, and the way you show your conviction and passion is to actually offer value and show your work instead of saying it. Because just think about it, anyone can say that they're very interested and they're very passionate and they're ready to get their hands dirty and they'll wear their PM hat and all that. But to actually show it is another thing. And so I always look for ways that you can show it instead. And your portfolio work, providing value for the person you're reaching out to, is like one of the best ways to do that. Okay, so we have some 8s, some 9s, solid 8 or 9. So that's better, right? That's improvement from a 6 to an 8 or 9. I definitely think that you send this uh, and you follow up a couple of times, you have a much greater chance of the person, if not even like replying, at least they'll forward it to the right person, or they will tell you no. But I think the first email you send, I think most likely is just gonna get ignored, because you're coming across as someone that's just talking about themselves and less about the other person. So let's not get into like the nitty gritty behind why, this email is better. One second, let me we'll get into the nitty gritty of how you can do the same with all your cold emails. Let me just fix this real quick. So it starts with the attention lines, right? And the reason why attention with the subject lines, the reason why they're so important is because you can write a really good cold email, but without a good subject line, they're most likely going to be left unread. And so I always tell people to spend 80% of the time on the subject lines. No matter how good your cold email is, no matter how good your story is, you could be Elon Musk for all I care. If that subject line within the first 10 seconds is not interesting enough or doesn't hijack attention, as I like to say, it's not going to actually help your cold email. So here's how you write them. The key to writing good subject lines that hijack attention is to create a curiosity gap. Look at all these emails. This is what someone's inbox is going to look like. They get a lot of these spam and robotic messages that you just want to instantly delete. But you write some email that has a subject line like, I have some questions that only you can answer. That gets me curious, like what are these questions that only I can answer? And the key is that if you open it and the text is a little bit is even 1% spammy, like it comes across as something that you've just sent across to more than 10, 20 people, like a template, most likely people will not continue to read it. So here's a few examples that I have. And again, all these pictures are just from the 8-day cold email challenge course. And so I'm not showing all of them, but these are a few. This is one that I'd sent and I'd used that subject line. And the guy literally replied saying, I'm going to steal that. So it's like this stuff really does work. Here's another example. I cold emailed Sean Puri for this role at My First Million. And he replied with this, okay, go ahead. If he hired you, what would you do? And just have a look at not only the subject line. The subject line refers to something his previous intern used. So that created a curiosity gap, right? And the second thing is my opening line in itself, saying that 6 months ago, I emailed you more times than I've seen my grandma. It's funny. It's not me saying that, oh, hi, I'm this person, hope you're doing well. I'm looking forward to this, whatever. This is just like a really good way to create that thing that we call a slippery slope. And what a slippery slope is basically that the goal of your subject line is to get your reader to read the opening line, and the goal of the opening line is to get the reader to read the next line, and so on and so forth. So in copywriting, we call that a slippery slope. Humor, personal touch is a great way of creating that slippery slope, so they slowly fall down your cold email. Credibility. So in the golden formula, you first come across, you first reach out with a curious subject line that gets them to open it. And then you personalize your email. So you show that you're not just a weird internet stranger, you're someone that's actually human. The email is not written by AI, it's written by someone they can relate to. And then you add something that gives you credibility. So the goal of a cold email is to actually go from cold to warm. You don't want to cold email someone coming across as a weird internet stranger. You want to cold email them and through the cold email come across as a friend or a celebrity. So you either have that credibility or that warmness as a friend, or you have that warmness as someone that's looked up to in general. Like if Elon Musk cold emailed me, I would obviously open it, right? Because he's someone that's super credible versus like someone that I don't know who's cold emailed me just across the internet. So the two ways you can do that is with your story and with your accomplishments. Really quickly before we get into that, I just want to say just imagine that, a really busy founder is going through his day. He has boring meetings where he has to make sure that the people in his company are doing what they do. A lot of his work has to do with operations. It's numbers. It's a lot of data-driven work as well, most probably. And everyone there is asking him for his time and telling them about themselves. So you can imagine, for him, how good it would be to get a cold email from an 18, 19, 20-year-old or even a 15-year-old that cold email Mark Cuban. And in that cold email, that kid is literally telling him how much his company changed his life. that cold email, that's just having that story of that person who, for example, saw this founder's work and then went on to discover some like a startup which is now becoming better and bigger, and now that he's coming back for investment. Just that story in itself will make that founder relate to that little kid so much. And even as an underdog myself, being someone who's cold email people who are out of my league, the way I've been able to relate to them or have them relate to me has been my story. And so really lean in on your story. If you don't have a lot of crazy accomplishments, if you don't have a lot of names on your back, lean in onto that story, because the person will relate to how they were when they were at your age. And if you can make them do that, 100% they'd want to help you out. I'm going to check all these questions in the chat in the end. So in the end, will be like an ask me anything kind of thing, and then we'll go through all the questions. Offering value. So this is a tip that, I basically got on a call with Jay Yang before the hackathon. So, and he was telling me that his biggest tip was to be super undeniable in offering value. So the way Jay got his internship or the way he got head of content role for Noah Kagan and his YouTube was that he literally made a 19-page slide deck and sent that across on how Noah Kagan could basically work on his YouTube and all the strategies that he could use. So really, over deliver and under promise is something to always keep in mind. A lot of people don't like doing free stuff, but that's how you show, instead of just saying. Anyone can just say on a cold email that I'm super interested, but only a few people will actually follow up persistently. Only a few people will actually show the progress from their last cold email. And especially, I don't know if some people here are reaching out to mentors or trying to get advice. The best way you build a mentor relationship with someone is not by asking them to be your mentor. You ask them for advice, and then you follow up on their advice and you show them the results. You do that 3 times and they just become your mentor. It's what I did with Ryan. It's what I've done with like other people as well. And it's a tip that I've gotten from other people that I've gotten some amazing mentors that have changed their lives. Even when it comes to, so I'll show some examples here real quick. Yeah, there's this thing called the reciprocity trigger, right? There was a study done in the 1980s, I guess. And in that study, they wanted to basically test whether one guy could sell more tickets to an event based on whether the group of people liked him or not. I probably didn't say that in the best way. So essentially the experiment was that in an art gallery, they send this guy in with a Coke Zero and 2 groups of people. With one group of people, he was rude. With the other group of people, he was polite. And in one experiment, so in one test, he would give the people an extra can of Coke Zero. And in one test, he would not give them an extra can of Coke Zero. The surprising thing was, even when he was rude to the group of people, but he gave them that can of Coke Zero, they were 80% more likely, or like 80% more of them bought tickets from him, versus even when he was polite to the same group, but didn't give them, or polite to another group, but didn't give them anything. And so I call this the reciprocity trigger, which is that in our human brains, in our human psychology, it's an underlying thing to want to reciprocate. And that's why I say giving value is super important, because if you do that, and it can be as simple as a compliment, the other person will want to help you out in the smallest way that they can. And obviously, if you frame your ask in that way that makes it as easy for them to actually help you out and reply, then they'll be more than willing to do that. So here are some examples. This guy, Elliot, so he posted this cold email on Twitter that went super viral. And this is how he got an internship at Lovable at 17 years old. And essentially what he did is he had identified a problem that Lovable and Shopify were not working together. It didn't have a good integration. So he actually offered to work on this during his internship. And a few months later, he actually shipped this feature as part of Lovable, which was amazing to see. Here's another example of a guy that cold emailed Logan Paul, and the way he did it was not by waiting for permission. He just looked at all his channels and noticed that he wasn't posting on one of it. So he generated podcast clips and sent them with thumbnails for free. Um, and Logan Paul replied within 5 days, and that cold email transformed his life. So, and also sometimes, you don't have to only be looking to provide value in terms of doing free work. It can be as simple as a compliment. This person literally just reached out to Sam Altman, giving him a compliment, and that let that person go from cold to warm. I've had so many good things in life from just doing things for free. Like, I hope, this event is one of them where I don't really want anything in return. It's just doing good things out there just creates a luck surface area for you. And already I've had so many things come in return. For example, having this sponsorship, having the partnership, having so many people come and be part of this event was just by me trying to make this event come into the world and hope that it would help some people. And the best thing about this is that the next time this person might reach out to Altman, Sam Altman will know that it isn't a stranger. Like, they've had a conversation before where this person has given them a compliment and now is probably cold emailing for something else. All right, the next is a simple ask. Now, I see so many people get this wrong. You want to make it as easy as you can for the person to do what you want them to do. And sometimes it's tough to kind of like frame that. And so I'll show you how to frame that in a way. But first, let me tell you something about the 3 test rule. So when you're cold emailing someone, they probably are just going to open it in between things, in between meetings. So you don't want them to think too much. You want them to think in 3 things, which is yes, no, or forward. So always frame your cold email with an ask that the person reading it can either reply with yes, can reply with no, or can forward this to the right person. Let me show you how you do that. Here's an example of a bad ask versus a good ask when it comes to asking for a job. Now, this one is like, I believe my experience as this makes me a perfect role. Looking forward to building great things together. So here, actually, there's not even an ask. There's no specific ask. So the person, imagine the recruiter or the founder reading this. Now this person has to like think about what to do. He has to make a decision there. Should I hire him? Should I not hire him? And then has to think about who to send it to. So it's too much work when they don't have a lot of time to even read your cold email, especially since you don't rank really high on the credibility ladder, when you're reaching out, especially for a job. So one way you can make that ask easier or simpler is if you literally tell them, reply with interested and I'll send over the pitch deck. Or here's like a few more examples. Here's 3 things I could get started on right away. Just hit reply and say the word. So you're literally, they just have to say yes and you'll start doing the work for them. So you want to make it that easy as you can. Or you tell them something like, how does that sound? Forward this to your recruiter, Marie, and we can figure out if it makes sense. So the other person will appreciate, first of all, that you've done your homework, the recruiter's name. And now I don't have to think about hiring you. I just have to think about sending you to the right person, which is a lot better. And in this cold email that someone sent to Greg from OpenAI, they provided value by sending in a pitch deck, which I thought is really amazing. A lot of people here are trying to get a podcast guest or sponsor. And I see a lot of them make this mistake where they're like, are you free this Wednesday or Thursday for a quick chat? This is so easy to say no to. They might be free, but they don't even want to check their calendar. Top of head, they're like, no, I'm not free, So you want to make it super easy for them to say yes. One way you can do that is say, okay, I made this one pager with questions and your stories that I've heard online that I want to talk about. If you're down, just say the word and I'll send it over to you. Now, all I have to do after I say yes is look at these questions that you have for me. And if I like them, then I'll decide whether I want to come on as a guest or no. So you don't want to make the ask seem, first of all, high pressure or too big for the person. And if you're selling a service or you're asking for money, a lot of people have this ask where they're like, oh, I'd be happy to just share a quick case study or share my pitch deck or jump on a short call. You want to make it really specific and simple for them. So you tell them, if you were to do the X, you could get Y. If you're interested, just say interested and we can do X. This is one of the best things that work, um, that I've seen a lot of people get success with, where you're like, oh, so if you were to just say the word, or if you were to just send me your this thing, like this resource, if you were to send me your next YouTube video, I'll create the thumbnail and I'll set up the description of the YouTube video for you, and all you have to do is see how it performs compared to your previous ones. If it does better, then we can have a chat. If not, then no harm, no foul. See how that's so much more easier for the person to say yes to than hire me to be your YouTube guy, something like that. Now this thing I want to focus on is called readability. Just want to make sure, are we all good in the chat? Like, are we still able to see the pitch deck? We still enjoying? Okay, I see a couple of likes. Cool. So the readability is super important because, again, the person is super busy. You want them to be able to just have a glance or skim over your cold email and still be able to understand most of it. The problem with the cold email draft that we'd gone over by Almas was that there's a lot of text, and a lot of blocks of text are not appealing to the eye. So you can use bullet points, you can use italics, you can use bold as a thing to make certain words pop out. See, now this is an example that, in my opinion, is not as good. Like, I would not rate it this high because there's just big blocks of text, right? Especially as a first cold email. And so these are some ways that you can use to write a cold email that is much more readable. You can use line breaks, keep your sentences short. And the one thing I want to stress is keep your readability to a grade 5 or a grade 8. Like in between, keep your readability level between grade 5 and grade 8. Another few tips is to use active voice. So it's just how our brain works. It's easier to imagine an action being done if you put the subject first. For example, I did XYZ instead of saying XYZ was done by me. It's easier to imagine for the brain. And this is a really cool resource you can use. It's called hemingwayapp.com. It's not sponsored by them or anything, but it's something that I really like using because it tells you the readability level of your cold email. I also want to talk about the PS section. So this cold email sent by Sam got the founder of Wealthfront as a sponsor. And one thing he does really well is, in the PS he says, sorry if this is out of the blue, here's my LinkedIn in case that somehow proves I'm not a spammer. So it just adds a little bit of humor, and PS is super underrated. Like very few people use it, but it's so powerful because it just adds that last flavor that kind of tells you that, okay, this is actually sent by a human instead of sent by someone, by like an AI or something like that. Another thing you can do in the PS is just say, PS, just attach my resume in case you want to forward that to your recruiter, or any missing details you want to add, you can add it in the PS. Also, you see how he establishes context in 3 sentences. Here's the situation. I'm almost positive our demo is in alignment with Wealthfront, and then he gives the reasons why, and then he adds some credibility. Instead of writing like big blocks of text, right? Lastly, following up is super important. I've had so many, so the cold email that I had with Sean Puri, I'd followed up with him like over 6 months. And even then I didn't get a reply. But then when I sent that cold email in October is when I actually got a reply, is because of all the follow-ups that I've done. Following up will literally double your reply rates. But you have to do them in a way that shows that you're polite yet persistent. And the easiest way you can do that is by giving them an easy out. So for example, these are some of the follow-ups that Sam had with the founder of Pandora. And he actually followed up so many times that the founder of LegalZoom, an honest company, offered him a job, because persistence done right is actually very admirable. It shows that you're really willing to do what you say you're going to do versus just saying it. And the key of doing it is by doing it with an easy out. So when you're following up, if you're following up with a mentor, you can follow up with progress. Same if you're like following up with an investor, you follow up with your progress. Not A lot of people follow up with putting more pressure on the ask, which is not the right way to go about it, because you don't want them to have more friction to do what you want to reply to that email. Instead, you just follow up with something that's like, if you're not interested in this, no sweat, I'm still a fan of the company, just to kind of remind them of your previous email without adding a lot of pressure to the ask. So I had actually reached out to a guy called Alex West. And since he's usually traveling, I asked him, hey, so which part of the world are you in now? Wherever you are, hope you're happy and healthy. Just wanted to bump this thread in case you got some time off your hands. So this is a way that I gave him an easy out. I didn't say like reply to me now, or like you have 2 days to reply, or I'll choose someone else as my client or whatever. I know some companies do that. It's literally a much more human way of going about it, right? So let me bring it all together before we get on to the questions. And it's been a long time. We've been on call for like an hour and a half. So really bringing it all together, first you have is the golden formula, where you have the attention, personal touch, credibility, you offer value, and you have a simple ask. So before you write down your emails, literally draw out this structure and then write between the lines. And the key to making your subject lines interesting is by creating a curiosity gap in your reader's mind. This is super important. Spend 80% of your time here. Increase your warmness with your story or by providing value. Again, you don't want to be cold, coming across as AI or an internet stranger. You want to come across as more human, more relatable, and more as a friend, or you add your credibility and you link it to other people that they trust. You want to leverage the law of reciprocity. You want to give them a lot of value, and you want to make it easy for them to say yes, following the 3-test rule. And lastly, you want to make your emails skimmable, and you want to be super persistent. You can follow up 2, maybe 3 times a week if your follow-ups are tasteful. And you can literally just follow up sending compliments, providing more value, but that will literally double your reply rates. And make sure you keep your readability level around grade 5 to grade 8. So 75 slides later, damn, I feel like I'm losing my voice, but I think I can say that we're ready to be sending cold emails. Really quickly, before you send it though, I would love to start this movement on X where, let's say you're cold emailing anyone, a founder of a big company, an investor, whatever it is, and you get a reply. It would be really cool if we start posting them on X, and we just put this tagline like, you can just cold email. So we have one that Jay started, which is that you can just do things, and that's what people post when they get opportunities, just hustling and putting themselves out there. So it would be really cool to start this with cold email. You get a cold email, you send a cold email and you get a reply, post it on X saying you can just cold email with the picture, and I will repost it. And it would be an easier way for me to like check all the emails that people are submitting as well. So I think that's pretty much it. I will see you 8 days later. Remember to share drafts in the WhatsApp group, which is linked in the chat. And that's where I will be giving a lot of the feedback and doing the rewrites as well. Let me now look at some questions that you guys might have. What's my frequency of follow-ups? So it depends. If it's during the week, I try to follow up once or twice, but it can also be after a couple of months. It really depends, because if I come across something that I think is valuable to the person, then I will just send it up as a follow-up, Are there any other questions that you guys have? Otherwise, I'm going to get water. I'm going to take some rest. I've been working on this slide deck. It's like 77 pages long. And I'm super excited to be helping you guys out with your drafts in the WhatsApp group. So feel free to share them there. I'll do some writes for sure. And yeah, I'm really positive that in these 8 days, you can 100% get a reply that can change your life. Yeah, you can submit all the emails by 9th December, so it doesn't have to be on. And you don't need to have, so okay, I'll show you the form real quick. You can see this. Yeah, so you don't need to have a response, but if you do, it's definitely a plus. And then you choose a criteria that you're going for. So the criteria are best cold email, most valuable reply, best subject line, and then or special shout outs. Anything that you might want to get blurred, just enter it here. And yeah, just verify that it's real and you don't get sued by the person. And that's pretty much it. You submit it there. Over here, hopefully we have a lot more people that say that you send a cold email. Don't do that. Only click it if you actually send it. And here are the details for the Luma event, if you'd like to still go and see them. Let me get back to the question. Yash, that would be super cool if you make content. Like if you send a cold email and it leads to some crazy outcome, that would be amazing. Appreciate that, Almas. Is there any structure for the follow-ups? So in terms of structure, I don't really like, you don't want the follow-ups to be lengthy because you just want to be reminding them of the cold email that you sent them earlier, which already has that structure. Yeah, so there's not like much structure, but I would just say make sure that you don't make the ask high pressure, and if anything, just provide more value. I appreciate all the good comments and all the good words, all the kind words. I really hope that this is valuable and this is going to be there on the internet for people to see forever. So I hope that, whoever actually sees this takes action. Like the worst thing would be if someone, just heard about this and didn't actually do anything, because I know how magical it would be for them, how life-changing it would be for them to actually see that reply from a person they never thought they would get in touch with. Are there any more questions? Okay, I think that's it. So we're gonna end the stream here, and I'm super excited next 8 days to see what's gonna happen. Keep sending these cold emails, keep following up, be persistent, and try to be overly human. That's like the last best advice I can give is try to make it really obvious that this was sent by a human. And lastly, go to coldemails.world, check out the Hall of Fame for more examples, sign up to the newsletter. If you're interested, do the 8-day cold email challenge. And I'll see you guys at the end of it. Thank you guys for taking the time coming.